How's it going, folks at home? Welcome to another one of these Scourge of Gyran conversations we've been having here at the Hobby Club. Please do consider subscribing if you're new to the channel here, and giving us a like whether you're new or not. It does help the video go out into the world so more people can see it and know about us and give us more money. Saray, how's it going?
That's important. It's going well, although man, I'm terrified of today's new rules.
Well, yeah, obviously I'm excited for today's new rules. This is Daughters of Khaine are one of my main armies. And tomorrow we know we're going to have a game where you'll be playing against them. We will have Daughters of Khaine versus Iron Jaws tomorrow. It's actually going to be a good fight. Daughters of Khaine got a lot of really good new tools here we're going to take a look at in a second. But one of the ones that they still don't have amazing is like any kind of really great rend. So that's going to really help you hang around, I think. So, but before we can talk about all the cool new things Daughters of Khaine got, we need to talk about science.
We need to do the science.
We need to do some science. So let's jump in immediately with some science. Okay, darling of today's updates is no doubt Krithusa, the Crone Seer. Here's her model. This is a new model, Saray.
It is. It's came at the end of last year's. What was the event called?
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, the event. That big narrative event.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Also, Krithusa.
Yeah, she's good. She's just rocking the bare feet.
Yeah, we should talk about
the freaks
bare
out
feet.
there.
We should talk about the bare feet. The bare feet became a bit of a thing. I'm in Daughters of Khaine Reddit groups, Discord, Facebook. I didn't see anything about the feet in any of those groups. It was actually Brett that randomly brought it up. He was like, "Oh, are you gonna bring Foot Girl?" And like a game we were about to play, and I was like, "What do you mean? Who's Foot Girl?" And he's like, "The girl with the bare feet." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like a little weirded out by how much this is a thing. So I was, I thought this was interesting. But yes, she is, what? Is this the first fetish friendly model?
In AOS. The other AOS. Dark Elves in 40k, you've got another, I forget her name. She's like the famous Dark Elf. Drukhari.
Lilith
Hesperex, yeah.
She is bare feet too, huh?
Yeah. So if you're into feet, it's you're eating good.
Okay.
With Dark Elves and their 40k equivalents.
I like this model. She's got her wings. She's got her crow friends next to her. Krithusa herself is blind, or so she says. That's why her hair is in her face and she doesn't really care about it. Okay, long hair, don't care.
Have hair at all.
Yeah.
That seems like a detriment.
Yeah. Well,
shave it off.
She's not much of a fighter, as we'll see, but she is nasty. Okay. Next we have the Bloodrack Shrine. This is the other model that we're going to look at today that got a War Scroll update for Scourge of Gyran. Now, the Bloodrack Shrine has this is a really amazing kit. Every Daughters of Khaine are one of those armies. My first two armies, I was really lucky when I started Sigmar. It was Beastclaw Raiders. They had a starting box that was a Stonehorn and 4 Mournfangs. So to start the army, you just bought that box like 3 times. Daughters of Khaine had a starting box that was this cart, 5 Snake Gals, and 10 Witch Elf Gals. Now, Witch Elf kit builds now 4 different units.
Witch Elf?
The Witch Elf kit alone can build 4 different War Scrolls. The Snake one, yeah, very funny. The Snake one can build 2 different War Scrolls. This cart can build 3 different War Scrolls and leave you with 2 foot characters left over. So literally, if you just take like 2 of these boxes, you can have like a pretty decent start to an army. I've never built one of these, that said. I've never built a Bloodrack Shrine. I've only built the Cauldrons of Blood, which have the Slaughter Queen or the Hag Queen on them. Saray, what is your thought on the generalness of what we're looking at? Hey Siri, shut up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Okay. The first thing I noticed is like wheels. Really, Daughters of Khaine with wheels?
Yeah.
I feel like they would have just forced some people to carry this, or made it magical or something. Wheels feels out of place to me for some reason.
Well, it is wheels. I mean, it is magic.
Well, yes, it is moving by itself, but
But why wheels? Metal wheels.
Why not like 60 people?
Is this thing? How is this thing doing? Like going like in the ice or the rain with these solid metal wheels?
Yeah, they put chains on it.
Yeah. I mean, they have chains right there. They have chains right there.
They actually have chains already. It's actually a 6x6 ready to roll.
They're pretty much. Yeah.
I actually think it's pretty cool. I think generally I'm not huge into carts. I'm not a fan of the Khaine one. I think the Shrine of Khaine looks a little weird with his arms T-posing.
The statue is not great. I want like a more modern statue with like a scary like stabbing you warrior pose or thing. Yeah.
Not Jesus T-posing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty cool.
Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. That's Khaine the Redeemer. Yeah.
Khaine the Redeemer. On a cart.
On a cart, yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, generally the carts in general don't really vibe with me, but I think it's a pretty cool like mini diorama. I appreciate that it also builds multiple things.
Yeah. And
the Melusai priest, what's her name?
She's not a priest, she's a wizard. This is a Bloodrack Medusa.
Bloodrack Medusa.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, Bloodrack Medusa's cool. Again, like you said, right? Whoever built this has a foot Hag Queen and a foot Slaughter Queen. Both very good, strong models. So you get kind of a lot when you build this. You really get 3 models no matter what you do. Because if you do a Cauldron of Blood, then you get this lady on foot. Yeah, I like the way it is. Just like it looks very scary and dark. It's very befitting of the faction, right? Like for this thing to be kind of a centerpiece, other than Marathi, roll up onto the board, and you've got this pot of blood. You've got this mirror, in her case, not the statue. You've got the attendants. You've got the blades everywhere. It's a staircase, essentially.
Nice double staircase there.
Yeah.
It's cool. It has a lot of cool things, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk when we get to the science.
Right, when we scientifically break things down. Last, and maybe not least, I'm not sure, is the Humble Witch Elf. We've been adding basic troop kind of, for lack of a better word, battle line, what used to call battle line, into this list here, going through and adding them in. We've done the Clan Rat, we've done the Chain Rasp, we've done all of those. Here's the Witch Elf. This is maybe one of the oldest models we have put up here as far as the basic line troop goes, Saray.
It's interesting because I think there are things about it that make that very clear.
Yeah.
But overall, it holds up decently well.
It holds up pretty well, in my opinion. It is fairly late fantasy.
Yeah.
I would say that the Witch Elf is cool because when you get 10 of them or 20 of them in a group, it's a very tall model. As you can see, this one is jumping off of a thing, and they're pretty much all doing that. They're tall.
I don't think that's a good thing.
You don't like the
I don't like the jumping off of things. I mean, I don't like this on Primaris Assault Intercessors, which are like new 40k models.
Yeah.
You gotta stop jumping off of stuff.
I think if they wanted to remake this model, they have some really cool witch elves that they made in Underworlds.
Yeah.
And instead of like these poses, they tend to be more in like squatting poses with like their 2 knives, and they look like they're like gonna be low to the ground and kind of like charging in and being hard targets to hit that way. This is more of like the Harlequin vibe, which I also appreciate. I don't know, I kind of like both. I do like the Harlequin vibe of them looking like they basically have fly, right? Like, And kind of in the lore, that is sort of how they're often shown fighting, but they're also shown fighting in these very visceral styles of being on their knees, being on a knee and like slitting someone's throat, or getting down and doing gruesome things. So
yeah, I think I'd like to see some better poses. I think you could even look at Blood Bowl Wood Elves for like decent elf athletic poses.
Aside from the pose, she's got her. One of the things that I liked about this army was it does have kind of Roman cult vibes. I enjoy the crown type thing they all have on. They're easier to paint than you would think. Everyone's like, "Wow, you painted 100 witch elves." They actually are a little easier to paint than you would think. Especially with an airbrush, you keep the hair separate. They're not that hard. But what does the science say on this? Let's start on a witch elf.
Let's start on a witch elf with the most blown out picture possibly on the GW site.
Yeah, her skin is white, her hair is white. This is how I paint mine as well.
I could not. I tried to like remove the background in Photoshop. Couldn't do it. Hair was too. The hair was.
It just removes the hair.
Pure white
and most of the skin. Okay, Here is. Let me find our top basic troop as a starting reference point. Is it still Chain Rasp? No, it is
no longer Chain Rasp.
It has become a Namarti Thrall, actually.
Yeah. It has become a Namarti. Just scroll down a little bit more so we can all see where the general area we're working in.
We have Namarti Thrall, Carrick Acolyte, and Chain Rasp all kind of near each other here. Is the Witch Elf cooler than the Namarti Thrall?
No.
Is she less cool than a Chain Rasp?
Yes.
Is she more cool than a Clan Rat?
Yes.
Okay, so that puts her in between Chain Rasp and Clan Rat.
Yeah, this is what we're trying to figure out.
Is she more cool than a Loon Smasher Fanatic or a Manskewer Bolt Boy?
Loon Smasher Fanatic, sorry, just refresh my memory. That is not the one on the squig. Or that is the one on the squig.
It's the one holding the giant chain and like spinning around. It's a
I see.
Little guy, yeah.
Okay, it's below that above
Manskewer.
Bolt Boy.
Yeah, I think I like it here. I think I like her here. Okay, now we go to Cthulhu. Where does Cthulhu?
Yeah, we can scroll back up.
Yeah, Cthulhu's looking pretty good.
He's pretty cool. Crows are very scientific. Maybe not as scientific as owls. I know you've told me that they're dumb, but it doesn't change the fact that they're science animals.
Crows are actually the smartest bird. One of the smartest animals. Yeah. Owls are actually one of the dumbest birds. A lot of people don't know that. Don't tell Sarah. But yeah, owls are actually a very stupid bird. One of the reasons they're so stupid, it's very interesting. What happens apparently is their eyes are so huge and so good that like most of their brain power is spent processing what their eyes can take in.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
I can see. Meanwhile, crows are holding grudges for generations.
Crows literally teach baby crows to hate people or dogs. They're
generational haters.
That dog sucks. Don't go near it. Yeah. Okay. So we've got. Where do we even begin?
We're above Great Canyon territory for sure. I think we're above Iridan territory.
Okay. So are we cracking the top 10 with a Kraken Eater, or not?
This is hard. We're definitely gonna have to do some rearranging towards the end of this short run of the show before we move into the regular show.
She certainly has agreed. She certainly has Thaumaturge vibes. Hey, I'm here. I don't really care. Deal with my magic bullshit vibes.
Yeah.
But
she has an aura about her.
Is she as sassy as a Thaumaturge? Thaumaturge is walking away like.
He's like, I don't even care, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta go read my books.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a little bit of a small abyss forming between Ogroid, Thaumaturge, and Gatebreaker.
I think so too. There's
a bit of a gap that needs filling. I think that's where she belongs.
That's where she goes.
Don't repeat in there.
I think so too. Cthulhu. There we go.
The Crone's here.
Last, maybe least, maybe not least, is the Bloodrack Shrine. Now keep in mind there's also a Cauldron of Blood. Eventually we will put that on here. But the Bloodrack Shrine, very grim. It's grim dark vibes, to be honest, for me. You've got this
I think this is my favorite of the shrines.
Okay.
It feels the most Daughters of Khaine to me, despite, one literally has Khaine on it. But this feels very...
But again, the Khaine pose is so meh.
The Khaine pose is so bad.
Yeah.
We can scroll down, though. I don't think it's breaking top... I don't think it's breaking top half.
Here's Zenestra. It's not as cool as Zenestra.
No, Zenestra's really cool. She figured it out. She's like, no wheels. Carry me.
Carry me, yeah. Do we like it more or less than a witch elf?
Oh, yes. I think it is better than a witch elf.
Okay.
It's got witch elves on it.
It's got 2 witch elves. Actually, these witch elves have cool poses.
Yeah, they're pretty neat.
These are the poses you want your witch elves
in.
Right.
They're not leaping off of a rock they found.
Right. And also these witch elves' hair is like, I don't know, it works a little better. Although you do wonder why it's in the. I guess it's in the wind, which is cool. Okay.
Okay, up a little more.
Oh, we've talked about our Free Guild Cavalier Vulcan Flameseeker Abyss.
Yeah, there's a small trench there.
Yeah, we've shrunk it. We've shrunk that trench.
Yeah.
It used to be Free Guild Cavalier to Blood Crusher, and we filled it in a bit.
I think this is right
really
below.
Thinking about this.
I think this is right. So here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think this one is right below Cavalier. I think there's a significant drop in the other ones, which we're gonna rank at another time.
Okay.
I think there's a pretty big drop in the Khaine statue one and the regular Blood Cauldron.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't particularly surprise me. That you think that. I'm with you on that one. I just want a new pose. I think what I actually even may do is try to they pop off real easy, the statues. I may try to repose him or on one of mine, or maybe find some 3D printer.
What they need to do is just get rid of it and make 40K Avatar of Khaine.
Put him up there? Yeah.
All right, let's see. Is chat very mad at science that happened? No, I think we're good.
Lucky Loki's doing his usual bullshit, complaining about Usharan, and we've come to expect it from Lucky. Okay,
it's not going anywhere.
Let's talk Daughters of Khaine. This is a very exciting one for me personally. This is one of my 2 favorite
Avatar
armies.
Of science soup.
Avatar of Science.
Much like the Avatar of Khaine, I'm the Avatar of Science. You need to just get. You're gonna have to get used to the shitty T pose.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump in, talk about what Daughters of Khaine got, and let's talk about where. Oh my gosh!
Don't look, everyone!
Don't look! We switched the wrong. We're on the wrong thing. There we go. Boom. Now you can look.
All right, everyone look now. Everyone uncover your eyes.
What a bummer. We've actually gone really long in this show without mistakes. That was an error. Okay. Mark it. Liberty, mark it. Okay. Here we go. Let's chat. Let's chat Scourge of Guyran, Daughters of Khaine. We've got 2 new battle formations. Here's the cool thing about battle formations is Daughters of Khaine. Like everybody else, currently they have 4. All 4 Daughters of Khaine factions are pretty good. No one faction, in my opinion, really stands out. I think that these 2 new ones literally joined the 4 that exist as like pretty good. For me and my particular playstyle, these 2 might be the standouts. Like I probably will take one of these 2 new ones, but the 4 current ones are all so good. And it is true that one of the current ones techs a little more into elves, one of the current ones techs a little more into snakes, but these 2 new ones tech only into elves. So if you're a snake player, you didn't really get a lot here in this. You got really just the Bloodrack Shrine, which we'll get to in a second. I think if you're a snake player, you're probably looking at this and going, oh, I need to pick up some elves now. So let's chat the 2 new ones here. Coven Zealots. Once per turn, end of any turn, your turn, your opponent's turn.
Sorry, we should just clarify that. Like, you're kind of you know this army very well, so you know what you're talking about. Unlike when we talked about Fire Slayers.
Yeah. Like I would say all of us fall into know the army very well because we've been playing it for a while.
Yes.
For me, that's pretty much this and Nighthaunt and Deepkin.
This is your favorite army.
This is this is probably it's the one I've been playing the longest, other than Beast Claw Raiders. Then there's category of like you would be with daughters. Is I end up having to deal with them a lot.
Yes.
And then there's the final category, which is the Lumineth Fire Slayers, Hedonites and Slaanesh category of we literally don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we've never played against this army.
We're doing our best. Please bear with us. Okay. So here we have nice and simple. Every unit, it's exactly what Tad's saying. It's clan rats. It gives every clan rat unit returns D3 slain models at the end of each turn. That's now what happens with Witch Elves.
There's a big difference between a clan rat and a Witch Elf.
A clan rat,
clan rat's not going to do anything.
7 clan rats might do the damage of 1 Witch Elf.
Yes, exactly.
So D3 slain Witch Elves is wild. This is also in combat they can get these back. So it's quite good. The only problem I have with this one is arena veterans, which I'm glad Tad is in the chat right now because Tad is a great competitive player. I don't know, and I was saying before the stream, like you said, I play this army a lot. I know how the army gets involved in fights. I know how that works. And arena veterans just makes the choice between these two even more confusing because they kind of do the same thing but in a different way. Arena veterans, nice and simple.
Lives of your elves.
Yeah, nice and simple. Any combat phase. For the rest of the phase, friendly Daughters of Khaine elf infantry have a ward of 5 instead of 6, which they normally have, until they use a fight ability. Then their ward goes back to 6. We all know 6 to 5 is a big thing. That's high value there. Witch Elves, Daughters of Khaine have one other way to get a 5-up ward, which is Hag Queen. So which one of these two is better? I don't know. On one hand, if you're going into fights, getting hit a little bit, finishing units off, returning D3, and then moving on, it's probably Coven Zealots. If you're facing a shooting army, it's probably Coven Zealots. But if you're getting into deadly battles with things like Chosen that will just pick up Witch Elves if they fight first, the 5-up is quite good. It is,
I think what's at least a little interesting about arena veterans is, I mean, at the end of the day, there's still 1 wound models with a terrible save.
Yeah.
But like, it kind of makes it not feel so bad to like multi-charge, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't actually care that you're going to fight that it's going to be I go, then you go, and you're going to hurt this one Witch Elf. I still have my 5-up ward.
Right. Yeah.
And as we talked about, a couple of Witch Elves could do a lot of damage.
Right.
So
now, Nexagon, snakes don't get benefit from these. It's only elf infantry. Yeah. So in both cases, these are only elf infantry. So it's both types of Witch Elves, both types of Daughters of Sisters of Slaughter, and then a group of foot heroes, and then I guess also Khainite Shadowstalkers.
So who is this best on then? Like, I mean, all those units are similarly pointed, or like, is it just okay?
The difference between the different Witch Elves is Rend on the charge versus +1 save, and then the one that has Rend on the charge also has an extra attack. Whippy sisters are -1 to hit all the time, but only have 2 attacks. And have Rend infantry.
Fucking nightmare.
Yeah, with some of the other things we're going to see, it makes Whippy Sisters get into a spot where they could be -1 to hit, -1 to wound, 5-up ward. And with a 5-up save, and the cart gives them a +1 to their save. So it can make them kind of tough. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see which one of these I take tomorrow. We were thinking about putting it up for a Mandrill vote. I'm not sure that we're doing that yet. Now that I just said it, I probably have to. Hopefully Meg's not watching. Doesn't look like she is. So we'll see. But these are both quite good. I think there's a case to be made that they are just a little bit better than the existing ones. That said, the existing ones also pretty good.
Are these the best formations we've seen for Scourge of Gyran?
Hmm.
Like sticking out in my head were like, man, these seem really good. We'll have to do a
Um,
full review, but off the top of my head, this is one of the better formations we've seen.
the ones that obviously the ones that resonate with me a little bit more are the ones that are armies I play. These are better
Yeah.
than the Deepkin ones. The Deepkin ones, unfortunately, aren't better than Achillean Beastmasters. Even though they're cool and they're fun and they are not bad, but they're just not better than Beastmasters. The Nighthaunt ones, you got this big glow up on black coaches, but now I just think you take the black coach battle formation that's already a thing.
Yeah.
I took the one where if you're in combat you can minus from the save against Brad the other day, and it was okay. Honestly, honestly it comes up less than you would think.
Okay.
So you might be right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Tad. That's what I was feeling. I was like, did they actually need this? Did they need this kind of help?
Well,
Because I'm about to feel it tomorrow.
we'll
We're gonna be
see.
playing some Daughters of Cain.
Yeah, we thought hard about the matchup and landed on Iron Jaws. We were thinking KO. I'm very worried KO get picked up by these ladies pretty quick. Um,
If
I,
you get caught, it's over.
yeah, here's the thing with Daughters. What they really needed help with was really two very identifiable problems. They needed a lot of help with movement, a lot. Just like Fire Slayers, just like Khorne, frankly. And they needed a little bit of help, just a little bit, with survivability. You don't actually want to make this army too survivable. That should be a weakness. They're elves. That's a classic misstep that we've seen, I feel like, in 40K with our Suriani all the time. We end up making
Yeah.
the Suriani way too survivable. We don't cut back on their lethality and their speed, and now we have a really big problem. So here we go. Their new prayer lore, I think, is very strong. Their existing prayer lore is quite good, by the way. The new one is I think a little bit better. First of all these have reduced values on what they go off on their 3s and 4s. Currently, it's a lot of 4s and 5s. Our unlimited prayer currently bumps us up 1 on the blood right table. That is very good for Daughters of Cain, especially starting in turn 3 and 4. Excuse me, turn 2 and turn 3 is when it's really good. We've lost that, and instead, by the way, that prayer goes off on a 5. We've lost that, and instead we have this Shadow Step. Pick a friendly Daughters of Cain priest and a Daughters of Cain infantry elf unit. Again, witch elves, and sisters and friends. You cannot use this more than once on the same unit in a hero phase.
Mhm.
The target can move 6 inches. It can move through the combat ranges of enemy units, but cannot end that move in combat. If
Oh, interesting.
if the chanting roll was 8, you could pick another eligible unit to be a second target. Okay, so there's 2 obvious things that this does. One, you can just move your Daughters of Cain 12 inches instead of 6. In 3rd edition, I was jamming with this army and feeling it pretty good because Witch Elves had run in charge. And they had +1 to their run roll, so minimum they are moving 8. That's been really a thing I've struggled with in 4th Ed with this army, is that they're just too slow. I struggle to pick engagements. I struggle to get into the fight. This changes that a lot. Worth noting that the cart cauldron has gone up in its stock because it grants a +1 to prayer rolls. That means this prayer goes off on a 2.
Ew.
And if you don't need it turn 1, which quite frankly I don't think you do often in turn 1, you can pretty much set yourself up for Mega Church in turn 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very good.
You can move.
This is the
It
second
doesn't say you
part.
have to be in combat.
This is the second thing Tad brings up.
Oh.
You can move
Oh
out
yeah.
of combat with this. Why that's valuable for witch elves with double blades in particular is that they have rend 1 on the charge, and off the charge they have no rend. So they can leave combat and charge back in.
Yeah.
They can also leave a combat they don't want to participate in without taking D3 mortals.
Mm-hmm.
2 witch elves left in a unit can leave the combat, rally with 3 extra dice, so 10 rally dice, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get a good rally roll, and now you've got 8 witch elves. And you go, all right, we're going back in, ladies. Or you get a bad rally roll, you get 1 or 2, and you say, okay, we're gonna go be action monkeys for the rest of the game, right? I really like this. This all takes place in the hero phase. You could move people out in your opponent's hero phase when you chant this, and you could then rally, and
Yeah.
then you could
Move
sit.
out, rally, then recharge.
Yeah, it would be a lot of CP to do that, but it is something you could do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, move out of combat or move through combat and fight something behind that was being screened.
Yeah. Tad, it is getting back to what I remembered in third ed with the techie and the positioning that I really loved about this army. Okay. Scathe scale. This one's quite good as well. Again, only affects Daughters of Khaine Elf Infantry wholly within 12. Until the start of the next turn, they are -1 to wound. If you got Mega Church, which is only 8+, until subtract 1 from rune rolls, within it changes it in actually an interesting way. Instead of putting it on a unit, it turns the priest into a bubble of -1 to wound. Now, there's a couple things that are cool about that, and there's one thing that's a little weird about that. So what's cool about it is that it's a bubble of -1 to wound around a priest.
Yeah.
Our invocation, the Fist of Khaine, already is a -1 to wound. I don't see this as a problem. It's easy to chant that in one part of your castle, have this priest hanging out in the other part of your castle, or another part of the board, and have a big area of -1 to wound. This is a really strong way for Daughters of Khaine to stay alive. This is very helpful for this army. The problem sort of with this is that you always have the chance to not do Mega Church, kind of. Although I think if you get the 8+, you have to do the Mega Church. It kind of removes the ability, Tad used the phrase earlier, you have a castle and you're sending out nuclear missiles. The nuclear missiles are 20 Witch Elves. You can't really do that unless that priest wants to haul butt with them, which she's going to have to do. She can run, she can try to keep up. But if Witch Elves move 6 in the hero, if Witch Elves, if you get this off, you put it on the bubble, and now you move Witch Elf 6, and then you move Witch Elf 6 again. Let's say the unlimited spell, which is Run and Charge, you get that off too from some Doomfire Warlocks or Marathi or something. These Witch Elves can fly across the board and hit something,
but they're not going to be in the bubble.
They're not going to be in the bubble. So it's a little interesting. The prayer almost works 2 different ways depending on what you do. So big thing I would like to do, number one, is learn for myself, and maybe somebody in chat has this answer. Do I have to do the Mega Church version if I get the Mega Church roll? This is the first time we've asked that, but do we have to do it? Because this is a little bit different. It's not just flat out better. It is better, but situationally maybe not.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Last but not least, again, Daughters of Khaine Infantry Elf unit. This one goes off on a 4. This one is quite good. What this one does is make up for up 1 on the Blood Rights table. +1 to wound. Remember, these are elf ladies. Until turn 4, rounds 1, 2, and 3, they're wounding on 4s. This lets them wound on 3s. If your chanting roll is 9, that's Mega Church here, 9, you also give +1 attacks. So, yeah. We're going to see that.
That's a 4, too.
Yeah, and what we're going to see, Saray, here in a second, when we think about some of the ways Daughters of Khaine are actually good at prayers, and then we add Cthulhu into the mix, you're going to see that a Daughters of Khaine player with Cthulhu is going to have good options here.
Yeah.
So this one is quite good. I see this as the replacement, like I said, for Blood Rights bump up, but it does only affect 1. It's not unlimited. And it becomes somewhat not as good in late game, although you would be +2 to wound in case somebody has a -1 to wound, and you'd be +2 to attacks in round 5 from this, which means a Witch Elf would be 5 attacks each until a Slaughter Queen gets her buff off, and now a Witch Elf is 6 attacks each. So it's like very problematic, but what you're imagining is the game is late game and you have, this is what we always talk about, you have 3 witch elves left. Well, you got to go kill a foot hero. Suddenly you have 18 attacks.
19 attacks if you have a champ.
Yeah, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, red 1, crit auto wound. It's like pretty much going to be lights out for like even a Stormcast hero is going to be in trouble. Okay. Moving on. Let's look at War Scrolls. Now, there's 2 War Scrolls here. Both are good. I think the Bloodrack Shrine got done a little dirty compared to Cthulhu. Worth pointing out, Saray, we were talking about, is this the best upgrade there is? This certainly is the biggest points increase we've seen in Gairan. Cthulhu goes up a whopping 90 points from where she is. Oh my god. Yeah, so they're not messing around. This was a serious change in what she does. Okay, her stat line does not change, and I don't think her weapons change, but this is not why you're taking Cthulhu. This is a fairly standard priest wizard stat line. She's got maybe 1 more attack than most of them would. Okay, let's look at her abilities, because this is where things get wild. 1, Cthulhu gains D3 ritual points during the enemy hero phase. This is really strong. There's not much else to say about it. This is just very strong.
Yeah, that's very good.
So, yeah, you can do the math on that. I mean, there's not really
give D3 with no potential to lose.
No potential to lose. Just gain D3.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk about her other ability, then we'll come back to her prayer. Once per battle, for 1 CP in your movement phase, you can bring back a friendly Daughters of Khaine elf infantry or cavalry unit that has been destroyed. Now, that once again means witch elves and friends, but it also means Doomfire warlocks, because she's like Doomfire warlocks things. So in this case, she is the first time we have that in this army. We've never had this before in the army where we get to bring something back. Here it is. Yeah, good. I mean, that's 90 points right there. So,
sorry, which rule is this? This is
once per battle movement phase. It's called Gift of Foresight. Yeah, sorry, I skipped. Now, while we're down in this part of the War Scroll, there's one other humongous and ridiculous upgrade that she has received, which is that she is now Priest 2. Okay. Brad and I were talking about this, and Brad was like, Priest 2 is kind of like Priest squared. Once someone becomes Priest 2, the flexibility you then have with them is really good. On top of this, remember, Cthulhu gets D3 during your opponent's turn. If she's near a cart, she gets +1 to cast. So she gets +2. She gets +1 each. If she's Priest 2, she's getting +2 ritual points. She gets Cthulhu is probably the best priest in the game at this point. Yeah.
For some very good abilities.
Yeah. Now here's her prayer.
Or prayers, excuse me.
Last but not least, her unique prayer. Okay. This one is also really good. It's Witch Elves and Friends, or it is Doomfire Warlocks. Okay, goes off on a 3. Kind of hard for Cthulhu not to get this prayer off. Basically has to roll a 1. Even then, she might still get it off. I think you can't do that, though. I think if you roll 1, it just fails, even if you have the points. Okay, here we go. She picked 3 options. 1, you target that unit. A friendly unit of yours. 1, enemy units cannot use commands while they're in combat with the target. The reason this is very strong is because Daughters of Khaine do have a rend weakness. And so against something like Saray's Iron Jaws tomorrow, I'll be looking to get this off so that I can at least keep him on a 3 or a 4. When Witch Elves start to fall apart is when they're going up against 2-up saves. This is
everything does.
Everything does. But with Witch Elves, you have so many dice that when I hear I'm going up against like 30, like 10, Plague, who are the Fat Nurgle guys? Blight Kings. They're 3 wounds on a 3-up with a 5-up ward? Yeah. 5 of them against 20 Witch Elves? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. No problem. I'm like, that's not good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm not worried about that one. Right? But if they are on a 2-up, if they have gone somehow they're up, or I'm not doing rend because the combat's protracted and I've lost my rend, now it's a little bit of a problem. So this helps there. Okay, the other one. Other than companion abilities, weapon abilities have no effect. Very strong. I can shut down some things like crit mortals. That
Yeah.
said, this isn't all that strong against witch elves and friends because my save kind of sucks anyway. If you're chosen and you're sending through crit mortals against me, I'm sort of like, oh, okay. In some cases, my ward is better than my save anyhow.
Right.
I might not even get a save. So I'm sort of
Yeah.
like, okay, this one's not bad. Certainly, I don't like crit 2 hits as a
Yeah.
witch elf player. The last one is our offensive one. Subtract 1 from ward rolls for damage points inflicted by the target's combat attacks.
Wow.
Always good.
Yeah.
On a unit that of 20 with a couple buffs, a unit that can be forcing something like 30, 35, 40, 45 dice rolls
Mhm.
on a save, 1 damage each. A third of them go away. Here's 24 dice. Your wound of 5 is now a wound of 6. That's like a big problem.
Mhm.
If you get Mega Church off with Crethusa, a woman who gets D3 ritual points during the opponent's turn and 2d6 plus 2 during her own turn, if you get a 9, all of these affect.
Oh my
All of these hit
God,
the
dude.
This is
How do you
bonkers.
keep track of everything that's happening?
Well, yeah, this is so bonkers when you think about all the things that could go onto a unit. This army truly, with Crethusa, if you were lucky enough, and I'll talk about why I don't think this is gonna be the case, but if you're lucky enough to get Mind Razor off on a unit of Witch Elves and this, and let's say the prayer that gives +1 attack and +1 to wound, you're talking about sending 20 Witch Elves in. I'm gonna tag my opponent's whole army, and I'm gonna put like 3 or 4 Witch Elves into every unit, and I'm just gonna wipe them out. Like it's so
Yeah.
wild. You really would have to be careful letting units of Witch Elves tag multiple units of yours.
Yeah.
Also, this is a keep in mind they can fight twice. So,
Yeesh.
and it's like, well, they fight twice, they fight last. That's okay. I'll kill some of them. That's fine. You can kill 15 of them. I'll still fight twice with 5. They'll
Yeah.
pile in 3 and they'll tag a whole new unit and they'll kill it. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just so crazy. You really have to be careful playing against them. I'll always be reminding my opponents on stream before the game starts. Be very careful letting a unit of witch elves get somewhere and then move around into your army and just go hog wild. It's lore cool. It's cool lore wise. This is what they do. They're insane murder ladies.
Yeah.
But I think that like Tad said earlier, it is a high skill ceiling army. Um, Mistakes are costly with this army,
Also, yeah.
but that has changed slightly because of the ward and the ability to bring 1 unit back. The only thing I'll finally say, Saray, about
Thank God for zealots.
yeah, Zealots, yeah. The only thing I will say about Crethusa, one last thing, um, she is a little vulnerable. She's a
Sure.
infantry hero with fly. She cannot be obscured. She has 6
Mhm.
health, a 5-up save, and a ward of 6.
6 more.
Yeah.
If she gets caught out of place, she's done.
She needs
But
to be near. She needs to be guarded by infantry. Shouldn't be hard. She moves fast. Anything that avoids that rule, like for example, I would not want to be near Karnov bow hunters with Crethusa.
mhm.
Very big problem for her. Anything that ignores that rule is a problem for Crethusa. Yeah.
A little bit of shooting would be very scary.
Yeah.
Any amount of shooting, even with a -1 to hit.
Even with a -1 hit, that is the one thing about KO, right? You take gun haulers, the new gun haulers.
Yeah.
The thing is, you'll lose them, right? You can rush
Yeah.
up, you can shoot, you can take out Crethusa. I've lost a huge buffing piece of my army, but those gun haulers are gone if they're within 12
Yeah.
of my army. So, you know, what will you sacrifice to take her out is going to be a question a lot of players have to ask. The
Yeah.
Bloodback Shrine is, speaking of shooting, kind of interesting. It's become, Matt Rose in the article described this as a mobile weapons platform. It is sort of interesting. Its stat line has not changed. Actually, its save, I think, went up 1, interestingly. Um, I don't know that its point cost changed much. I don't know what these things currently cost. I think it's a little bit less than that, though. So I think their points have changed. Its control went up to 5. That's interesting. I
Mhm.
think. Sorry, that happened in 4th ed. Okay, here we go. she has a ranged weapon that she currently doesn't have. It's interesting.
Oh wow.
15-inch range, 4 shots, shooting combat, crit 2 hits, 3/3 Ren 2 flat 3 damage. This is a good shooting attack for Daughters of Khaine.
That's a good shooting attack, period.
That's a good shooting attack for basically anyone. The goads, i.e., her attendants, went up to 2 damage. Also weird and unusual, but I'll take it. Yeah, and then as Tad is pointing out, the other big call out here with her is that she has gone up to Wizard 2. Our only other Wizard 2 in the game is Marathi, and actually she's a Wizard 3.
Wizard 2 for your army, you mean?
Excuse me, for the army, yeah. Okay, her spell is a little weird. This spell can be useful. It goes off on a 5. It puts a bubble around her that you cannot be set up within 12 inches of her. The problem here with this is that she's going to be surrounded by targets that she's probably buffing or working with. That said, she's not really a buff piece. She is kind of an independent operator. I don't know that you are super concerned about getting near her. That said, it goes off on a 5. She's got 2 casts. Daughters have really good spells. I don't know how often you're casting this. She's just not the right target for it. The 12-inch setup is also tough, like I said, because if she's surrounded by melee snakes or shooty snakes, you got a little shooting like battle gun line with this army you can do now. You're probably still able to charge into the snakes. 12 inches is probably not enough to keep you out of that. So I don't know if I love this spell. Last but not least is Racking Gaze. This is fun. Once per turn, any shooting phase, you pick an enemy unit within 15, i.e. a unit close enough to have just been shot by her weapon. If the roll is equal to or less than the enemy unit's health characteristic, for the rest of the phase, you can re-roll failed hit rolls for attacks by this unit that target the enemy unit. So on big targets, something like a monster, you can re-roll your hit rolls with this scary shooting attack. I mean, she could take out a gun hauler in one shot.
Yeah.
She's re-rolling to hits, potentially. Like I said, it's equal to or less. So a gun hauler, she's just re-rolling hits if she wants to. In other words, if you want to go into a big target with this unit, you just say, I'm re-rolling hits against Manfred, against Prince Vordry, against a gun hauler, whatever it is. And then she has 4 attacks that 3's re-rolling, wound on 3s.
Well,
that's where you'll drop a couple. Yeah.
Well, you have to roll a dice equal to or less then.
Yeah.
I thought it was equal to or more than. It's like,
you're right. If you're going into infantry, this is not a good ability.
Yeah.
So this is what's fun is that I think in combination with shooty snakes, they become this really scary gun line where you have her who can really hit these hard targets. The snakes can go into any target, but between that and the shooty snakes, it's lights out.
Yeah,
you're in trouble. This you can build a very shooty Daughters of Khaine army now.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that they were already one of the strongest shooting armies available.
They can be.
Yeah, and this is definitely helping.
Yeah. I don't think she's bad. I will probably. I have a kit of this, and there's no reason for me to build any more cauldrons. Yeah. So I will probably build one of these. Why not? And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not how I play the army, but it's nice to know that after playing hordes of witch elves and murdering things in close combat, I could build some snake lists that are actually quite shooty. You get 2 of these and a bunch of shooty snakes and a bunch of melee snakes. Vino has a big snake army or a mod. Getting 2 of these is kind of scary. And they're leaders, so they're opening up regiments for you anyway. You take 2 of these and you bring the fighty snake gal. You've got 3 leaders. They're great. You've got 4 casts.
Jesus.
And you're getting Mind Razor off, or at least attempting Mind Razor.
Yeah.
And like your shooting is very super nasty. I'm trying to imagine two of these going into something. Now the second one wouldn't get the once per turn reroll
Mhm.
ability because it's once per army, but like still, it's kind of nasty. And they're not half bad in combat, honestly, with the 2 damage. Um,
Yeah, I mean this whole update really. I mean, Dodgers of King are arguably one of the deadliest factions already.
yes.
This is like really, really pushing through that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what army defensively can withstand this. I
Well,
mean, I think realistically, you with all these buffs, you could probably take a Mega Gargant out
I mean,
in one go.
I mean, they already largely can take a Mega Gargant out
Yeah.
in one go. Now, a couple things I would say about this. Remember that when you're doing this, um, the points add up, and I don't know how often you're fitting Crethusa and Marathi into a list, and then much else.
Oh no,
That's a
no.
grand right there.
Yeah.
And Mind Razor is very, very scary. In tomorrow's game, I'll be taking 2 wizards, Saray. I'll have 2 casts. It's 2 units
Yeah.
of Doomfire Warlocks. They don't really. They often need to
No,
go
those are
out.
utility units.
They kind of are. I To keep Doomfire Warlocks around, trying to cast Mind Razor, something goes off on an 8. Doomfire Warlocks can't use places of power; they're not heroes. So
Hmm.
to keep them around, trying to get an 8 on one roll with no rerolls, no pluses,
Yeah.
kind of stupid. Mind Razor is probably not happening tomorrow. If I have nothing else to cast and I'm there and I'm sitting there and it's an option, I'll try. And if I get it, it's a big problem for my opponent because witch elves go up to 2 damage. But other than that, I think you're probably not looking at a lot of synergy between Mind Razor and all the stuff we see here with Crethusa and the prayers.
Yeah.
Not to say that it can't happen, but you know, I think you're kind of picking one or the other.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess out of curiosity, do you see a world in which you drop Marathi in your regular list to take more witch elves
oh, I
and
mean that's yeah, that's
Medusa?
what. Oh, sure, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, typically, I don't take Marathi on stream. The last time we took Daughters of Cain, we did take Marathi. I like Marathi, but the problem is that what Daughters of Cain are fun because the stuff is cheap and you get a big
Yeah.
horde army, you get a lot of assets, and it's fun. Marathi shuts a lot of that down. She takes up over a third of your army in points right away. What you get is definitely worth it, I think. But this is a different viable way to play the army. Like I said, there's some synergy. You could take Marathi and Krathusa, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't have a lot else after that. I think the army is probably literally Marathi, Krathusa, and 3 units of witch elves, and maybe one more character, or maybe like a Canite
Right.
Shadowstalker or something to grab objectives. It's kind of lame. Um, so yeah, it's a really good update. I think it might be one of the better ones. I
Mhm.
know it's one of the better ones. I was thinking we would rank them down the road here shortly as we get closer to the end, and we'll talk about who came out the best in Scourge of Gyran. Um, Saray, any other thoughts on all this? You're gonna get to experience it tomorrow, but I don't. You asked defensively, and I think you're in a good spot defensively to deal with this. When you do look up and down this all over the place, you just don't see a lot of red, and that is where Slaves to Darkness, Iron Jaws,
Yeah, your three up
Stormcast,
armies.
3-up armor remains healthy here. Wards are good, of course, always. So what they've picked up a little bit of the ability to hang around and scrum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas previously they're a glass cannon. They want to go in, do their thing. Their best defense has always been a good offense. Now
Mhm.
they actually have a little bit of defense beyond that, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm curious how if this ends up changing composition of armies, or does
yeah,
it just push existing?
yeah,
I guess people are taking a lot of Melusai over witch elves in some builds, not all builds, but in some builds.
yeah,
So I'm wondering if this is kind of a gentle push back towards
yeah.
that.
I feel like witch elves have remained good in fourth. It's just the movement is tricky, and frankly, snakes move 8. They still kind of have the same problem. 8's not that much faster. So like, I think that we shall see what kind of stuff people take for daughters. By the way, worth pointing out, in the past few months, we have seen current Krathusa start to show up in top spots in competitive play. People are taking her. She dropped a lot in points, and people said, you know what, she is pretty good. What she currently does is still pretty good. Not nearly as good as this. Last but not least today, we wanted to talk about something we really screwed up on yesterday, Saray.
Yeah.
You know what we did. Yeah.
Our eyes were not seeing.
Yeah. Following the stream, we realized we didn't see the hidden Deepkin things here. So it looks people on all my Deepkin groups and Reddit and stuff. People are posting the picture over and over again and losing their shit, and of course wildly speculating. So here we go. We've got character 1. This appears to be a Kellyan, not an Asharin character, based on
you can tell because of his skin color.
Yeah, that is pretty much it. Well, Namarti is this pale color. Asharins are like the wizards and the nerds. And the Kellyans are like tanned because they go out in the sun and do work and kill things. Looks like he's riding some fish. It's like a little anglerfish, huh?
Is it? Oh yeah, it is an anglerfish, isn't it?
I
thought it was a weird like sturgeon or something.
Yes, yeah. I mean, like, hey, let's take 2 fish and combine them and make a new fish. Sure. That sounds like GW design.
It feels like something I'd see in The Simpsons or something.
Yeah. The Simpsons.
It's like riding on 2 fishes or something.
Yeah, he's riding on 1 fish. He's got 2 other fish, I think 2 other fish near him. It's like a little school, at least 2 other fish, maybe 5?
Is he just jumping? I don't know. This is why they need to release bigger pictures.
So here's the thing about this guy that I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
GW has painted him in a very darker color. He sticks out almost by how dark he is compared to the rest of the army.
Yeah.
I'm curious what his role is. I'm curious if he is a Kellyan or if he is some whole new wing of the army that we're just touching in on here. Either way, kind of interesting. Yep. Hero 1. Over here, we have Hero 2.
Right there.
Right in the middle.
Enhance.
Oh, yeah, I can enhance.
That's wow. He looks way different.
This poor dude. Yeah, where is he? Oh, I can't. There he is.
Yeah. Enhance.
Yeah, there he is. Okay.
Enhance. There he is.
It's definitely an Kellyan character.
Oh yeah.
Appears to be running along some water that is forming. This is kind of how the Ether Seed does work.
Yeah.
This guy literally runs on water. Kind of cool.
Yeah. I like it.
He's got kind of a traditional weapon. Now, on the Reddit page I was on, people were like, wait, that's not this guy here in the middle, this Reaver. They were like, that's not a normal Reaver. That's a new unit. I'm like, no, these are normal Reavers. This isn't a new unit. Calm down. Okay.
The star of the show is the water spine incarnate.
Yeah, then
whatever.
We appear to have, all the way over here on the far right.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
There's another guy.
Where's another guy?
No, you said all the way on the right. Is that a new guy?
The shark? No.
Okay.
No, we have a few interesting things going on over here, though. Yeah, so we have this incarnate-esque thing. What is confusing about this is that there appears to be a base here with just some water tentacle things coming up.
Yeah.
And then another one, and then in the back, another one. I'm actually wondering if what we're getting is one spell that has 3 large parts that you set up, have to keep within a certain distance from each other.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of wondering if this is not a manifestation.
Manifestation is just a unit?
It's just a unit. Yeah, I mean,
now that would be interesting.
I don't know. Like, I first I was like, for sure this is a manifestation, but these things feel like I don't think one endless spell manifestation would be just this piece of water sticking up in the background. That's pretty dumb.
I mean, it could be like a Foot of Gork situation.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It could be, but
Yeah.
it appears that it might have 3 parts if that's the case. I don't know that we would get a unit like that. I just don't know. But we'll see. I'm excited for whatever this is. And we will obviously get it on our table as ASAP for a game. So, look forward to that.
Lightning, yeah.
Saray, did we do all of the things?
Yes. Well, so like we were thinking about, we're probably gonna put a Mandra vote up for what Zach plays tomorrow, one of these 2 battle formations.
Yeah.
We should also mention that in the future we want to remind people about our Mandrill list submission. So if there's a list you want to see played on stream, we have a way for people to submit lists that we will, do our best to put together and play on stream. So if you have that, if you want to do that, there's you have to be a member, a Mandrill, that's our 2nd tier, and there's a place on the Discord where you can submit lists for us to play.
Yeah, worth pointing out, we do have a catalog of our army there. If you really build a list and you see one thing that you're like, oh, I don't think you guys have it, it'd be really cool. You can always reach out to the person in Discord that you think owns that army. I think the list
the names are next to.
It says that. And 1 of 2 things can happen. Either we might have it and maybe didn't update it, or we don't have it. And maybe it's something we paint soon, or we're going to be painting soon. We can kind of fill you in. But if you're submitting an army and it's like 800 points of things we don't have, that there's not a lot we can do about that in the near future. So take a look at that list. If you're passionate about an army, go in and look and see what we have for Daughters of Khaine, Sylvaneth, Cities of Sigmar, whatever faction is interesting to you, and make a list. Yeah.
Yeah, I will be playing Iron Jaws tomorrow against your Daughters of Khaine.
Yeah, the list is Carthusa and some Doomfire Warlocks, a cart, and then just a crap load of gals on foot, murder gals.
Yeah, Iron Jaws didn't get a ton, so I'm debating whether I want to run Zogrox, Anvil Smashes with Rekkas with a new Scourge of Gyran War Scroll, or if I just want to do a regular list and probably do a monstrous trait and maybe one of the battle formations, but neither of those seems super interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We shall see. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here today, whatever time it is for you. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's clue is a little. It is, I would say, the least good clue ever. And we only have like 5 or 6 factions left. But I literally would not know what it is based on that clue. I think there's 2 things it could be. Yeah, I think Seraphon's one of them. I feel like it could be Lumineth. I don't know. Both of those are left. It's probably not Hedonites.
That'd be a curveball.
What else is left? Soulblight.
Slaves to Darkness. It's not Slaves to Darkness.
Slaves to Darkness happened, right? No?
No.
It didn't? Okay.
No.
Okay. So Soulblight, Slaves, Lumineth, Seraphon, Hedonites are left.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Ogres.
Oh, yeah, Ogres.
Ogres.
I don't think it's Ogres.
I don't think it's Ogres. Okay, everybody, as we like to say, be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, always be creating. We'll see you around.
Bye.